Hello and welcome to Shought Thorts, the bite-sized interview show where I ask your favourite people in the gaming industry a bunch of somewhat silly questions. My name's DC Bradshaw, and my guest today is Eren Angiolini. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I guess let's dive in. For those that don't know you, could you please describe the creative thing or things you do, but only using words of one syllable?
Okay, I am prepared for this. And my answer is I draw elves and swords. And I wish comics would be like a one-syllable word, but it's not because I color comics and but that didn't work. But yeah, I think that I draw elves and swords is fairly accurate to what I do most of my day. There's like long hair, beautiful clothing flowing around, but mostly it's elves and swords.
At least draw is one syllable.
I will admit, like I Googled one syllable word and I was just like, okay, is this works, this work? And I was like, draw. Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
Because I always have also have the issue of like thinking it in Italian and I just like we divide syllables in different ways. So for a second I was like double guessing every single word that I was thinking. I was like, draw. Yes, one. Hmm. So luckily Google helped me.
But you did it. Well done. Slightly sillier then. If you were a pirate captain, what would be the name of your ship?
My ship would be the Ginger Menace, I think. I found out Googling this because I wanted to make sure that it was not something weird. It's a cocktail, but I am not a cocktail connoisseur.
Okay.
If you liked it, maybe it's also a very good cocktail.
It's a pirate ship name that could also be the name of a cat, I feel.
As the owner of a ginger cat, I can confirm he is a menace.
I don't think there's any ginger cat out there that isn't a menace.
I used to have one like in Italy with my family. He was a very mellow, very friendly, very calm. But apparently mine was the broken one. And then this is kind of like the rules for everything else.
What's your favorite mindless fun popcorn movie?
Depends on the type of mindless fun I'm into. I'm not like someone who watches like the same movies over and over again.
Mhm.
'Cause I get anxiety that I should be watching a new movie instead of one that I've already watched a million times. But if I look at the movies that I've watched like many, many times, other than Lord of the Rings, I would say that Lilo and Stitch is one of
Okay.
my favorites when it comes to animation as well. And then it would have to be either Guardians of the Galaxy, the first, or the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
I think those two are some of those that I'm like, it doesn't matter if I'm like fully watching or like half watching, but I just really enjoy the vibes and I really like those two.
If you could have a miniature version of a mythological or fantasy creature as a pet, what would it be?
I am very much a horse person.
Okay.
So I would think that a mini Pegasus or like a mini unicorn would be really, really cute to just have around.
Pegasus in particular, I can imagine just sort of flying around the room.
Just this cute little thing. Unless it's a disruptive Pegasus, then in that case it might be kind of like Ginger Menace Part Two.
And imagine a tiny unicorn trying to prod you with a little horn that's not actually effective enough to do anything in particular, but my God, he tries.
Yes.
Just like booping for love or treats. Okay, question 5. What's your favorite swear word or phrase that's not actually swearing?
This is something that I've been introduced to by my husband, who was delighted to as a his British, I'm not. So sometimes we have these wonderful exchanges of like weird expressions and
Yeah.
um we actually looked this up because I wasn't sure about the origin of the word. But there's this word, this 19th century British slang of calling people a spoon, and I love that. Gonna say that you're just
Yeah,
you're not all there. Like just you're just a little bit off and a little bit silly.
that. I know a few people who like that. That's their go-to one.
Yeah, I really like that a lot because it's just it could be anything and it could be nothing, but I just really like how weirdly effective it is.
Got a good sound as well. I think that's one
Yeah.
thing with swear words, both, offensive and non-offensive. It's one of those, you got to take into account how it sounds, and how well you can enunciate it.
Yes. And how feels your mouth in the right way and like kind of like helps you convey the emotion. But like, yeah, it was so yeah, I like saying spoon.
It's good. I
I
like
like
that
that
one.
one.
I was curious on this one whether it was going to be an English thing or an amazing Italian idiom that translates very weirdly into English, but is not technically swearing.
It's interesting because then of course you can go. I'm from Rome, so there is of course like more Roman slang. In Tuscany, they have that. I think in Tuscany, and in Veneto, which is where Venice is,
Hmm.
there's like a huge culture of like incredibly elaborate swear words, but like swear words, like heavy, strong ones.
Yeah.
But also kind of like a lot of calling you something incredibly offensive without actually saying something that is the swear word. So like it's an art in those areas. They're like some of the things that are said are just poetry.
Okay, moving away from swearing into something, a little tamer and kinder.
Yes.
If you had to sing a Disney song at karaoke, what would you choose?
Okay, so if I didn't particularly have to worry about my performance, because that's like a big, like,
Okay.
which one of these would I be able to sing
Hmm.
well? I would have to say probably a bit old school when it comes to Disney songs. Again, I was never someone who, other than The Lord of the Rings and a couple other movies, rewatched like periodically movies, but there's a couple songs that kind of like stuck with me, and one would be Go the Distance from Hercules, and the other one would probably be Reflection from Mulan. So when
Yeah.
cause she's kind of like looking in the pond and she's thinking, ah, the reflection that I will see one day, will it be like the true me and blah blah blah. And I like those. The second one, I really don't know if I would be able to hit the notes. And again, pretty old school. So there is a song in The Little Mermaid when there is a chef who's cooking the fish,
Oh, yeah.
and there's Sebastian who's trying to escape. And the song is called Les Poissons, and it's just the chef cooking and singing about how he's preparing all this delightful fish. And it's just ridiculous, and I love it.
If you could have a magical item to make your day-to-day life just a little bit easier, what would it be?
I don't know if it counts as a magical item or if it's a little bit too much, but I think I would love a teleportation circle if that classifies
Yeah.
as a magical item. I think teleportation circles would be great and it would solve a lot of my reluctancy to do things or go places.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh yeah, I would love to do rock climbing, and then I think that I have to either drive or get a bus and then park and then walk and then come back when I'm, after working out. It might be tired, it might be sweaty, and it's just like, oh, well, I might as well not do it.
That makes sense.
It would also help with like having family abroad, so like it would be nice, on Sunday lunch to just pop up in the teleportation circle and go see my family or like my friends around the world, as I'm sure you as well. The TTRPG community and the artist community, like we're scattered everywhere. And so it would be nice to go like, yeah, sure, I can go to Gen Con tomorrow. I hope here. I'm in Indianapolis.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
So that would be really cool, I think. But I do recognize that it's not just a magic lighter or something like that.
Hey, it's a perfectly good answer, and honestly, I think it's difficult to beat. Okay, right, going a little bit more serious on this one. What's a book that you think everyone should read?
So I don't know about the everyone should read, because I don't think I have a book that changed my life in a way that I would say, "Ooh, I think everyone should read this because it would be amazing for this and that other reason." But I'm a big audiobook fan. I've been
Yeah.
I have, and I'm a bit ashamed of this, but I have kind of lost the ability to just sit down and read a book because one, I get anxious that I'm not doing something else, which is very bad, and I'm working on it. But a lot of times I get very sleepy. Last year, I listened to this book. I think it was Audible saying, "Hey, you might like this book," and it's called "The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle" by Stuart Turton. It's kind of like a classic party mystery murder. Like
Okay.
a lot of people are in a house, a murder occurs, and they have to find out what happened. And it's set in kind of like in 1920s, somewhere in England. So there's this murder mystery, but there's like a supernatural elements to it. It's kind of like a Groundhog Day thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really surprised me because I knew absolutely nothing about the author, knew absolutely nothing about the books. It's like, oh, sure, a murder mystery. I haven't read one in many years, so I guess I'll give it a shot. And I really loved it. And for people who are into audiobooks, the person who read the book was also incredibly good. And he was reading all the different characters and like was able to really give a wonderful performance. So yeah, The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton was a very good read.
I don't know it, but I feel I'm going to check it out. And there is always something lovely about, because I feel you kind of alluded to it before. It's like because time is limited, you feel you've got to be using your time very efficiently. Oh, I'm finally relaxing, but maybe I could be doing this thing as well.
Yeah.
So I find the same thing with media. It's like, unless I've got a good recommendation or it's another thing by that person I already know, I don't tend to take chances. But it is nice to pick up something, whether it's a book or a movie or an album or something, where it's like, I know nothing about this. So sure, let's just take a chance with it. And it turns out to be awesome. So that's great. What's the creative thing you've made or done that you're most proud of?
Okay, so I have two answers for this. The first one is the thing that I'm very proud of that I've done like 100% on my own, which is my Arcane Compendium. And that's my deck of system agnostic TTRPG characters that I funded. It was my first crowdfunding. We are in the process of production, the actual physical, the cards and the box and all the little things that go with it and shipping and this and that. And it's been really intense lately because we had a few hiccups, but we're working through them. And even if it's been really, really tough, and I will be honest, it's not been the most successful financially because there's a lot of money that goes into this
Yeah,
stuff.
I can
And
imagine.
considering that I've worked on it for like, well, now a year basically, it's not going to change my life financially at all. I actually have sorry for whoever's listening to this, but for the people who are watching, I have
Ooh.
the this is the test print. I'm very, very excited. It came out beautifully and it's all me. And of course, I mean, I've worked with a wonderful culture consultant and an editor, but everything that's written on it, it's been written by me. All the art is by me, all the design and the layouts and everything, it's all done by me. So that was a huge endeavor, and I'm very, very proud of it. And I also can't wait for it to be done because I'm just really tired. And the other thing that I'm excited and very proud of, I guess, it's working with Critical Role. I think that's something that a lot of TTRPG fans can and artists can relate to. But yeah, having done official art for Critical Role, both in their comics and in for their live show in London, was something that I still can't believe sometimes.
The work you did was absolutely gorgeous. It really was.
Thank you very much.
Okay, question 10 then. Could you please tell us your favorite inoffensive, groan-worthy dad joke?
Okay, so this it's actually a recent one. So I was the victim of this joke a few weeks ago. What do you call an octopus that always makes fun of everyone else?
I don't know.
A moctopus.
I like that. I like that.
It was one of those where like we didn't really want to admit that it was good, but it was good,
Yeah.
and in the end we had to surrender to that.
Okay, and on that note, thank you so much for your time. If folks have enjoyed these insights into the brain of Eren Angiolini, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, and Blue Sky at Eren Angiolini on everywhere, and also erenangelini.com. And if you want to support me financially, maybe check out my Patreon, which is the Art Venturing Guild, where I do NPC artwork every month. So it's cool stuff.
Thank you so much. And please, please, dear listeners, please check that out. And on that note, thank you out there for watching and or listening. I'm DC Bradshaw, and this has been Short Thoughts with Eren Angiolini. Hope you have an amazing day. Take care.
Bye bye.